So, Series 15, Episode 3, The Well. I really like this episode. I do have a bit of a thing that I didn't like, but I'm gonna take those first so that we can get into the good stuff, because I feel like I've been complaining a lot recently. So, things that I don't like is mostly pre-credit scene. Mostly because it's like kind of reinforcing the things that I didn't like about last episode, particularly the Doctor and Belinda's relationship. It's, additionally aggravating because we have like a perfect moment at the end of the episode where the kind of trust moment that happened in last episode could have happened, and I just feel like that would have been better. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that later, but I'm going to try to go in chronological order since most of the things that I don't like are at the beginning of the episode. But yeah, we start with the Belinda and the Doctor having a conversation and being all besties, and I hate it. But yeah, they still can't get Belinda home, so they have to land in this place. I don't like it. I don't like that Belinda's so happy about the costumes and all that stuff. I just feel like it's too soon. I said that last episode. I don't want to harp on it too much, because I feel like been there, done that. But yeah, another thing that I really didn't like about this episode was suddenly there's Toxic by Britney Spears. Like, why? It really feels a little bit like Russell's just tooting his own horn, and I don't like it. It's annoying. But yeah, and then they go out. I think it's curious, actually, I wrote it down, that they have the same uniforms as the soldiers that we meet in this episode. Like, what's that about? Is that just the TARDIS having a sense that they're gonna need it? Or is that just a coincidence? I feel like they should put a bit more thought into that. The times that we have changed clothes to fit the period, it has been, because they know where they are. So I just found it a bit curious. I don't know. But they go out of the TARDIS, they're on the ship. They jump out, land the planet. Yeah, I really like the scene where they introduce themselves to the troopers. It is very good. I like that the captain catches them in their lie, at least a little bit, but then obviously they think it's a test. The Doctor's pretty good at lying himself into situations, so... And then they go into the station. I really like how the mystery is introduced. And yeah, I also really like that we get to see Belinda in action a bit, like as a nurse. Doctor Who's never really done that before. We had Rory, who was also a nurse, but he never did anything like that. So I thought that was nice that we get to see that throughout the episode. And then, obviously, we get to Alice. Honestly, this entire sequence, it's very sharp. It doesn't feel like we're wasting any time or space, and the audience is given the ability to figure out things on their own as well, and not just being told directly. But yeah, I really like the scene when they start talking to Alice. I like that they have the Doctor do BSL. Another thing that I also really like is that not all of the sign language that is happening is being spoken back to us. I really like that they paid attention to the fact that BSL and English are in fact different languages, that they have different structures as well, and that it makes it hard to use sign language and speak at the same time, and I'm really glad they paid attention to that. I also really like our bigger characters here. We get a lot of time with them before things start happening. I also really like that they do pay attention to the fact that English is difficult to lip read. Maybe not as much as they should have, and that they have this device that lets them subtitle their speech in almost real time. I think that's a cool way of doing things. Another thing that I like about the whole communications thing that's going on is that when the Doctor turns away to discuss what's going on with the others, Alice is like, please don't turn away from me. I like that it's paying attention to the fact that she can't know what's going on when she can't see them. And then we move on to the scene in the, like, mining chamber. I don't know what it's called. The well. I like how the information is spread out, which means that, you know, as the audience, you figure it out piece by piece. Like, the moment she says that it used to be a diamond mine, you know, oh, this is midnight. I personally was a bit nervous when I realised that it was going to be a sequel. It's a kind of story that you really just don't expect a sequel, or don't really want a sequel, but it went much better than I would have expected. And I'm glad that we have it, because it's really fun and it's really interesting. Obviously, as soon as he realises that this is midnight, the Doctor runs back to the chamber. We also have the scene while Belinda is alone with Alice and the troopers. The scene where they see things behind Alice, the midnight creature. And I like that we don't see the creature, like, outside of, like, quick flashes of something. But I also really like the tension that comes from the scene. I think that the tension is really well managed throughout the episode, but especially, like, this first half of the episode, basically. I also like that the characters have very different reactions, and obviously there's this one guy who just doesn't want to listen to the Doctor for once, but there is someone who doesn't blindly trust him. I like that all of the characters that get a lot of focus, they have different reactions to what's going on and what's happening with the Doctor. They have different reactions to Belinda, they have different reactions to Alice. I like the sequence despite how brutal it is. It's just really well written, really well paced. And then of course we get the explanation from Alice that she's known, and how this works with the creature switching hosts, which obviously comes back in the end. And then we have the whole sequence of the Doctor trying to figure out what is going on, trying to talk to the creature. And I like that we don't hear what the creature says to him. And Ncuti is really just acting it up. And it's done really well, despite the fact that it probably doesn't say anything in the script, that you just have to imagine what's going on. And he also manages to kind of convey that the Doctor is afraid as well, and not just, like, stressed about the whole thing. And I also really like the solution to the problem. And I like that we take the time and make the effort to at least try to save Alice and try to get her home. And then we have them running away, the Doctor obviously wanting to see the thing, because that's what he's like. And then we get our final scene on the planet. This is the scene where I thought that it would be perfect to have Belinda start trusting the Doctor. Because the first thing that happens when they realise Belinda has been taken by the creature is that the Doctor offers up himself. And I think that would have been a great moment for the Belinda to realise that the Doctor will do anything in his power to keep his promises. Even though that doesn't always work out, he does try, at the very least. I think that could have been a great moment. But it wasn't. I mean, it still was a great moment, but it just was a missed opportunity. And then we have the scene with the captain offering to help in this situation. I think that's brilliant, and I think that the way her character was handled was brilliant. And yeah, I think it was clever. I like when Doctor Who is clever. I also really like the scene the Doctor and Belinda have in the TARDIS after they have saved her. This episode just really made an impact on me, I guess. It stuck with me. I think that all of the deaths, they're handled really well. I like that we don't just abandon Alice. I think that's my favourite part. That despite the fact that she's been possessed by this creature, we don't just abandon her. And then, of course, we have the moment at the very, very end with Mo when it's revealed that, of course, the creature has attached itself to her. And she obviously realises that right away. But we don't get to see what happens to her after. But yeah, I really like this episode. I ended up talking about it for quite a while. Next week, we're back with Ruby. I don't know how that's gonna go. It's also guest writer, I think. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I think this is probably my favourite episode of this era so far. So, but we'll see how this series goes forward. Yeah, right. We're gonna talk about the whole thing about Earth not being known about, humans not being known about. I already said this in my review for episode 1. I hate it. I don't want any more world-ending stakes. I don't want it. I don't care. I'm tired. So, yeah, that's my opinion on that. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week.